Hey everybody, and welcome back to the Check Engine Podcast. It's the only podcast produced by three winners of IMSA's Spirit of the Race Award. We're streaming through anchor.fm/Check Engine Podcast, or anywhere else podcasts are streamed for that matter. It's been a while. We've all miraculously survived the plague, and we're back and feeling well, right?
Feeling better.
Feeling better?
As well as I ever feel, Nick.
Aw.
So those other voices you hear are Tristan, our producer, and Andrew, our writer/creator. We're not pros. We don't do this for a living. We do it because we love it. We do it because we know there's more of you out there who love cars and motorsports just like we do. So we don't want just to talk at you. We want to talk with you. So reach out to us. We have our own website. It's checkenginepodcast.com. Go there. Pay that site a visit. You can get links to all of our socials, links to Anchor FM where all our episodes are posted, our blog, the whole thing. Socials, Facebook, we're there. Like us. If you don't like us, cool. Share us with somebody else. Odds are you know a gearhead in your life that will probably be interested in what we're doing. So share us. Find us on Twitter, @CheckEnginePod. Find us on Instagram, @CheckEnginePod. We're out there. We're all over the socials. And if you're really into what we're doing, if you really dig it, we do have support pages as well.
People are starting to, pitch in a little bit. We got some projects that we're moving forward on because of that. So get in, folks. Get in on this, really.
Yes, absolutely. And
2 words. Ground floor.
Ground floor.
That's right.
Absolutely. And there's 2 ways to get in if you want to get in. We don't just have one door. We got 2. First is right through anchor.fm. There's a little support button right there on our page. And we also have a Patreon page, patreon.com/checkenginepodcast. Anything that goes in there comes out as better content, a better show for you, the listener. So thank you so much in advance for anything you choose to donate, I guess, or support us with.
Yeah, and shout out to all of our current supporters, too. We're organizing our list of things that we want to do, and we're planning on some really cool stuff for the future.
Nick's doing all sorts of cool businessy stuff.
Yeah, all of it's
budgeting.
possible. Yeah, all of it's
Trying to
possible due
budget.
to the...
Like, if we hit this amount, we can do this.
Yeah,
and if we
all
hit
of
this
it's possible.
amount, we can afford this. So we're...
I don't want to say too much, but we do have stuff coming.
All that stuff is percolating, and we could use some more support to help us get there. So, none of us are famous. None of us have a bajillion followers. We don't have a corporate sponsor yet. So we need help from the good folks out in the ethers, out in the world. So thank you very much. Guys, since we are all still alive, miraculously, we have more things to talk about. What's the episode going to be about tonight?
Well, tonight we're going to bring a couple topics to the table. We're going to do a little show and tell episode.
It's been a while since we've done a show and
It
tell.
has been a while, and I think this is a good way for us to bring some topics that are individually important to each of us and get a little different flavor.
Not necessarily at least on my end, my topic isn't necessarily important to me. It's just something I'm curious about and I found really super interesting.
That's good. I have a rant, obviously.
Of course. You always do.
And I'm going to talk about something that probably neither of you two are interested in. So
That sounds good.
about par for the course.
Of course. Tristan's deep thoughts, TM.
Yep.
Everything's normal.
It's relatively shallow thoughts this time, which is the good part.
No, that's
Maybe
good.
I'll interest some people who are listening this time.
Did you just insult our listeners for being shallow?
No, I'm saying I'm too, that was an insult towards me, because I talk about weird things.
Okay.
All right, we'll let it slide then. We'll let it slide. Almost a stop and hold. Damn near a stop and hold. But first, before we get into that, we have pace laps.
I mean, we got to talk about a big one.
Yeah.
We got to talk about a car that was recently announced by McLaren. After all the teasing, all the hint images, we got to talk about the McLaren Speedtail.
Yeah.
Because
it was posted on our Facebook page already.
That's right, it was.
So look, I think it was I shared a Car and Driver post. I want to give the proper credit. But yeah, it's on our Facebook page. Go find it.
I think that car is hideously ugly.
Yes.
Yep.
It's heinous.
Yep.
It's like the mechanical realization of the word semen. I just think it's completely appalling.
You think that's what it looks like?
Yes, I think it looks like the word semen.
I was gonna go with like airplane wing with wheels.
It's not anywhere near that cool.
All I thought about it was that McLaren was wrong.
In
what
what?
Because they've insisted on naming all of their other multifunction office device cars, whatever they are, just by number, and they all look the same because this is how you build a fast car, is what they keep telling us. And then
Right.
they now their fastest car doesn't look like that.
I mean, the
Or
weird
have the
thing
same
is,
name.
Right.
The weird thing is, I think it actually kind of does look like the other ones. But behind this, imagine...
If you put like an aerodynamic shell.
well,
on
exactly.
McLaren.
Imagine MP12C, whatever that was, the first one, with a giant aerofoil over it.
Right. So the physics of it mean it's entirely different. That's what they were always contesting, was that the only way to make a fast car is to have it look like this, and they don't. There are styling cues, but the overall aerodynamic curves and wind tunnel images are going to be entirely different on that car.
Yep.
I suppose. I still think it looks within the boundaries of them. You know, you see it and you go, oh, it's a McLaren, but it has stupid front wheels. Why did they... whatever. I hate it.
Aerodynamics is that's the reason for the front wheels.
I hate everything
It's
about
aerodynamic.
it.
Was it $2 million car?
Probably.
And they're
2
already...
million pounds.
Oh, yeah. So
sorry.
So, like,
3 million.
a bunch of dollars.
Lots of dollars. Making 100 in... Is it just 100 even or like it's like a weird... It's the same amount as the F1. So it's like 106 or something like that.
Yeah.
Sold out. Before they revealed images to the public, that car was sold out.
Well, clearly.
Seats 3, conveniently enough.
That is
The
so...
three-seater. They're bringing back the
That
three-seater.
is so bizarre. With the driver in the middle, by the way.
Yeah.
Which is how the
Important to
F1
note.
was.
Yep.
Right, yeah, it was. But-
So, a little bit of nostalgia there for you. But, you know.
So is
I actually thoroughly enjoy that part.
the 3-seat?
Yeah,
thing?
just because it's
Yes.
unique. It's weird.
It does look like an actual fighter plane on the inside.
Which is cool.
All the controls are kind of like above your head, like
yeah.
above
I like the
windshield.
inside. I do not like the outside.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting, and it's clearly one of those cars you're never going to see in real life. You're never going to really even hear about, except when some online publication / car show does a Speedtail versus Bugatti
versus
Chiron
F16
versus you know, that's the only time you're ever going to
the
see
new
any
Chiron,
one of those
whatever.
106 again.
Yeah.
Yep.
Or if someone wrecks one.
Yep, you'll see that.
Yeah, I think it's a Lambo, dude. Shout out to that reference.
That's right. I think it's a Lambo, dude. Oh man. Speaking of Lambos, neat car news.
Ooh.
I saw screaming down the highway in the opposite direction of me about a week or so ago. Canary yellow, like the brightest of bright yellow, Countach.
Ooh, that's a pretty cool car.
Oh,
that's a
it's
cool car.
fantastic. And like, obviously it's cold around here now. My windows were closed. I had like the radio on. It was going the other way, but it was still really loud. You can hear it go by that loud going down the other way. It's like, oh man, that's badass.
That's a classic.
I loved that car.
Oh yeah.
Great car. Surprising that it was out this late in the year.
You know what I saw?
I mean, there's no snow. Like
it's
the
not-
ground wasn't wet. I guess
yeah.
it's not terrible, but it's like
But I
normally.
actually saw something weird on the way to work today. I saw 3 Kit Cobras just driving down Gulf Road.
In a row?
I mean, clearly they must.
The
have
club
been,
is out for a drive in
Yeah,
the
but
middle
what
of the weekday.
What a weird thing to have out now.
The joys of retirement.
Yeah, I
And
guess
not
that's
having
really
a
what it is.
schedule. If you were on your way to work, it was early in the morning too.
It was, yeah. It
So
was
it
in the
like,
morning.
Yeah.
Maybe they're going to Holy Hill, probably.
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 I was just
Probably.
there.
That's the place to, you know, if you're going on a drive in this area, you go to Holy Hill.
Mm-hmm.
Because at least you have a destination and it's far enough away.
That's worth driving to, and you get
is
some good,
really pretty.
some good driving
That's
roads
gorgeous
and great
up there.
views. Yeah.
So anyway, cool. Cobra Kit cars, Countaches, and we've got a cryptic tweet.
I do have a cryptic tweet that I liked on our Twitter feed. Follow our Twitter feed at Check Engine Pod. It's from Peugeot UK. So, I mean, theoretically, they have a native English speaker running this account, but Peugeot is a French company, so
Who knows?
you never know. They tweeted this out This must have been a few days ago just in the morning. Usually they have like all car companies will send out something like hashtag, some idiot name day of the week, and they'll show, a user picture or something about a new car they're
Wacky
launching.
Wednesday.
Yeah, what Dodge does front end Friday, which gross.
Don't
don't
post
wanna
that.
see anybody's
Don't
front
post
end.
that in public.
Yeah, but this is what Peugeot sent out. Tomorrow, would you like your conversations with your car to be : That's the whole tweet.
They're playing a Twitter game of Mad Libs.
Tomorrow, would you like your
Was that posted today or was that posted yesterday?
It was a
Do we
few
have an
days
answer
ago.
today?
Tomorrow, would you like the conversations with your car to be adjective,
color word?
body
Were
part?
there any replies or retweets like doing that? That would have been hysterical.
I mean, I didn't. I'd have
So,
to go dig it up again. But
What would you
just a
like
screenshot.
your conversation with your car to be?
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow. Not today, but tomorrow.
Non-existent. This is not a conversation.
Well, I
You
mean,
are such an old curmudgeon.
I will say this: your car saw some shit this morning.
It did.
So
I don't want to talk about that with the car or you.
You know what? I'm going to put him on blast. I got a call at 7:30 this morning.
7:30 this morning.
From Tristan. I picked up the phone and I had basically just woken up at that point. And at first he sounded panicked. I'm like, why the fuck would he call me? But what happened? What did you find this morning?
Mostly what you heard is I was sounding very apologetic
okay.
because it was early.
Like I said, I'd literally just woken
Yeah.
up.
And I called him because as I came rocketing down my driveway, I had to stomp on the brake pedal because in my driveway was a deer.
R.I.P.
That's the punchline, is that it wasn't standing there. It was dead. At least I thought it was dead. And then it moved.
Oh my god, it moved!
A ghost deer?
Yeah.
A zombie
and
deer?
then
Oh,
it moved. The
that's
legs
so much worse.
the legs moved. It tried to lift its head and then it died.
I
And
didn't know that part.
so the really sad part for me is, and as I mentioned, I didn't want to talk about it, but you've done this.
That's funny.
Is that I basically scared a deer to death. Now it
I'm
wasn't.
glad we're talking about this now.
Now
It's
it
way
wasn't
funnier.
really my fault because it's hunting season in Wisconsin and some moron failed to follow on with their deer shot and let it just
Die a horrible death.
horrible death.
Yeah,
horrible.
awful
And it
person.
wasn't even the shot that killed it. It was horribly gruesome, and coyotes definitely are what killed it. And so that was my morning. But the car did manage to, on a bed of rather squirrely pine needles and leaves, bring me to a screeching halt, so I did not then do further damage to the deer and probably my car.
Right.
So that was great. But then I had to figure out what to do with it because I only have one way out of my driveway. It's not like I can go around it on the grass. So I said, hey, who might want this deer? I went over to the neighbor's house. I said, hey, you're a hunter. You want this? He goes, yeah, but I'm busy. He was going to the.
I do want it, but I'm
he
busy.
was off to an appointment somewhere, and didn't have time to deal with it. I called you to see if either you or your dad would want it. They didn't want it, so I called the county, and they didn't want it.
The poor deer, nobody wants it.
Now-
Which you'd think would be their job, though, to
Right,
clean up this
right.
crap.
And then so I called the sheriffs, and they were like, "No, we don't do it in that jurisdiction. It's Town of Ottawa. They take care of it." They called Town of Ottawa, who doesn't have a highway department, so they weren't going to have somebody come and get it. Who's supposed to pick it up? Well, luckily, the guy that I showed it to took a picture of it, who sent it to his wife, and then she posted it on Nextdoor.
Oh my god.
The weird social
no
media,
way.
the weird social media website for neighborhoods, and someone's like, "I want it. I'll come pick it up." It was gone.
You
When
didn't
my-
want to talk about this, you idiot.
That was a great story.
Yeah. So luckily enough, I have no problem with hunting. I do have problems with senseless killing and idiots who don't
Just be
finish
a better
hunting.
hunter.
Yeah.
If you can't take a kill shot, be a better hunter.
Yeah. And I have issues with that, and I was kind of actually upset that no one wanted to go take this deer to keep the antlers and eat it, because that's the only purpose of killing a deer other than by accident with your car.
Right.
Like, if you're not going to keep it and eat it, then stop killing animals. Like,
Yeah.
it's stupid.
Exactly.
So I was kind of angry and sad that no one wanted to come pick up this deer, but luckily, happy ending. someone picked up the deer.
Not for the deer.
That was my car story for the day,
Yeah.
and it was barely about my car.
Well,
But
the
either way.
Subaru stopped on a
It
bed
did,
of
on
pine needles.
Yeah, on a
impressive.
veritable dime on slippery surfaces. The brakes in that car, they sneak up on you. They don't bite really hard, but then about halfway through the pedal push, you just come to a screeching halt. You're done. It's weird.
There.
So
Now we made it a car story.
yeah.
Exactly. And he doesn't want to talk about it with
Thanks for the ambush.
Come on, you knew. You knew it was going to happen.
Anyway, after that aside, are we about ready to jump into the show and tell portion of the show and tell episode?
Yeah, we can jump in.
Who goes first?
Do you want to go first, Nick?
Do I? I mean, I can.
Yeah, why don't you go first?
All right, I'm gonna go first.
What do you got?
Well, I'm gonna ask the question, but before we answer it, I want to give you the reason that this question popped into my head.
Okay.
So the question for discussion is there any sort of car, I guess we can call it a subculture, that is distinctly 100% cannot find it anywhere else in the world American? The reason I ask this question is because I want to take you guys over to Japan for a minute. I want to talk to you guys about something called Dajiban.
Japan, that's in Europe.
It is not.
Dajiban.
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 Dagiban. Dajiban.
All right.
What is that name? It is literally like the phonetic translation of Dodge van. Mm-hmm. If someone from Japan is trying to speak some sort of English, Dodge van turns into Dajiban.
Well, also in Japanese, similar to what they do in German, if there's an English word, they will take it and phonetically make it sound organic to the Japanese language.
Yep.
So-
or string pieces together to make it work.
Yep, exactly.
So
that's what Dajiban is. But why are they talking about Dodge vans? Because
question.
in Japan, they race them.
Like journeys? Like what kind of vans are we talking about here?
These
yeah,
are
like minivans.
from
Minivans?
1970. The year range is from 1971 to 2003. Short base Dodge Ram vans.
Oh, so like a short version of the Moose.
A short
Yeah.
moose. And like they want the short version because obviously that handles better than the long wheelbase. And the short wheelbase ones were only like 2 or 3 inches longer than like a modern Accord. Like they're not that long.
That's pretty short.
So, but it's a van. It's super tall. It's got so they take the guy who kind of started this subculture. He worked for an importer, and there was a Dodge Ram van that was just sitting in port, and no one wanted it. So he took it home, and he was messing around with his buddies, and he started doing laps on a track day, and they thought it was a great idea. So for the last decade plus, it's just been this craze in Japan where people will get these old Dodge Ram vans and they soup them up like you won't believe. They custom shocks, custom springs. They relocate the suspension pickup points because they want to slam them.
Of course.
Fuel cells, diffusers. For those of you who don't know what a diffuser is, it's like a spoiler that comes out from under a bumper, front and rear, on like a GT race car that you find at Le Mans. They put them on Dodge Ram vans. They give them dampers like adenized, what are they called, nitron or nitrons?
Yeah, nitrons.
Racing dampers. A set of those costs more than like a Honda Civic.
More than probably the van.
More,
Yeah, well,
way
obviously,
more, way more than the van.
Yeah.
Hurst shifters, Edelbrock heads. They've got the most common engine is a 318 cubic inch.
I was just gonna
say
ask.
the venerable 318.
The 318, 300 plus horsepower. And the thing about Dodge vans is the snout is so short that the engine was actually, it's almost like an inboard engine boat, just like the cover in the center, under the dash.
So we own one. We drive one regularly to the track as an RV. When you're sitting in the driver's seat, your feet are fully halfway down the left, how you look at it, left or right bank of the V8.
Yeah.
The engine is sitting mostly in the passenger compartment.
Right. And with these guys, they want to shed weight, so they take that cover off. So you just have an exposed V8 engine in between the two front seats.
God.
Goodbye, ears.
It is fantastic. They have to reroute the exhaust because the thing is slammed, so the exhaust actually routes out directly under the two front doors. Like they just cut it short. so they're short piped.
All the death.
Oh,
all the deafness.
160 plus mile an hour top speed on these things.
That's just
They
not
roll
safe.
on 16-inch Watanabe rims.
Sure.
And they
Slammed, so I mean they're like at ground level.
yeah, damn near ground level.
Yeah.
And they run like, it's not like an official circuit, it's like club style races. And they run at most commonly at the Ibisu circuit. And the reason for that is because like if they were to go to Fuji or Suzuka, like those are FIA sanctioned circuits, so the
Yes.
rules are super strict.
Sure.
Ibisu doesn't require a helmet.
Ibisu.
And neither does Dajiban.
Okay,
God.
so personally, I'm all for this so far.
You haven't heard how big this is. Field size for a race.
So wait, sorry. I thought you meant like 10 dudes going down to a track day.
Oh no, my friend.
Field size of up to 35 of them at once.
Holy shit.
Amazing. Amazing.
And
I
so
looked
they
at
have like
videos
their
of
own
this shit.
track weekend.
I looked
So-
at videos of this shit. It is incredible.
So now we have item number 2 on the Check Engine Podcast Japan trip checklist.
Not
there you
just
go.
the Honda S660 across the country, but we gotta do it in time with the Dajiban annual reunion.
Yes.
So, obviously, it is distinctly 100% Japanese. You're not going to find this anywhere else in the world.
Yes, I'm doing it here.
Until now.
Which brings me back to that question. Is there anything that is distinctly 100% American, you're not going to find it anywhere else in the world?
To that extent.
I think the biggest issue is a lot of our car cultures are old.
Yes.
So they've spread, but I think things that have started here definitely exist. But are there
sure.
any that are strictly stuck here? I don't think so. But again, Dajiban is 10 years old, and for example, I want to do it now. So I mean, I think that I think it could spread, that kind of thing, but I don't think there's anything that is still strictly United States.
I mean,
Anymore.
I listed some, and I put question marks next to all of them because I literally don't know. I don't.
it might be something dumb like those Beat the Fuzz drag race events where like,
Oh, you race against the cops?
yeah,
Yeah.
at drag strips.
Yeah.
Well, I just said drag racing in general. I know it started here. I'm pretty sure it's spread out
Yeah, it definitely
worldwide
has.
now. I mentioned this
know.
to you, Andrew.
Yeah, it
but
has.
I know they do it in Australia.
Yep.
Oh, well.
Which is just America upside down. We know it and we love it.
I guess I
I love Australia so much.
forgot about them.
Next, the Japan and Australia. Gotta get to all these places.
And then, Andrew, I talked to you about this before Tristan got here today. Racing for a title, like a pink slip.
Oh yeah.
Is that done anywhere else? I don't know.
Probably Australia.
Probably Australia.
Yeah, I
They
would
probably
have
do it
to-
more than we do.
That would be research. I would need to, but
Actually, what we were talking about
But what
before
other
you...
ideas do you think? Like, I
think-
like the beat the fuzz idea.
I think honestly, honest to goodness, like rat rods,
Oh, yeah.
like where they're not just like hot rods, but they're like rusty and
They
patched
look
together.
crappy.
They look
That's a really
terrible.
good one.
Yep.
I
I
bet
think
you
that
that's American.
probably would be mostly American.
Well, because
On top of
no one
that-
else is dumb enough to do that.
On top of that, the lemon culture. We've got lemon car rallies. We've got the lemon car shows. The 24 hours of lemons.
well,
Is that
rallying, no, because that's a Scandinavian thing.
No, like
do,
road rallies.
Oh, okay. I was like, because I know in Scandinavia they do like the cheap car, like actually like
yeah, I was going to
rally
say...
cross rally
it,
stuff.
It takes a different form, but Europe has very strong cultures of racing
beaters?
crappy
Budget
cars.
budget cars.
or cars that are
Okay, so it's not that.
in other ways unpopular.
Yes.
I actually put this probably not either because you have like the Sultan of Brunei or something, but like collecting many cars, like it a lot of times in Europe, like on an average household, there's one car or something like that, right, for the family. But like,
Well, there's significantly less area there. Yeah, you can't.
Yeah.
but yeah, but here
you can't buy an airplane hangar.
right here, you're right. But here you have people with mom, dad, and 2 kids, and they have a car for. So there's 4, and then dad
Plus
might have a
one,
couple
yeah.
of project cars. So you might have 6 or 7 cars in a household, like.
I was just thinking Jay Leno specifically.
Or Jay Leno with his 3,000, however many he's got. I don't know.
Jay Leno on his own brings the entire national average up.
Yeah. Well, there are on old Top Gear. They had several British celebrities or
Who have
kind of the Europeans.
14 Ferraris or
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I guess.
I
So
mean,
that's what I'm saying. It's kind of hard to pick out.
Yeah. I think rat rods are a good bet.
Definitely.
Yeah, that was a good one.
But
I
I
like that.
don't know for sure. Again, that would also have to come with a question mark.
I would bet on that one though before any of the ones I
Well,
suggested.
Certainly not widespread. Like, probably like me wanting to do Dodgebon, I'm sure there's some German guy who's like, yes, I will do this.
I love a 26 Ford.
And I want it to look terrible.
You know, actually, that's a really good question
Because I like hot rods. I think hot rods are cool. But
Yep.
good ones. Like, I think rat rods are dumb.
I don't think they're. I've never seen a good one, ever.
You never see good anything though.
That's a really good point because a lot of stuff is trash. That's a lot of stuff can be trash. Only a few things can
The
be good.
Veloster and your wife are the two things you see.
Only sometimes. I'm not going to tell you which one.
That is an ample list. Two things is ample.
Like I said, you got those two things, a whole bunch of space, and at the bottom, the
Everything
rest of
else
the world
is terrible.
has
We're gonna
the
come back
worst.
around to this hot rod thing when we get to mine because mine is related to that. But actually, what I was gonna say is, if I'm thinking about this right, obviously a rat rod is like a modified old car. You know, literally being 30s, 40s.
Yeah.
That where they take like the engine bay covers off. Mm-hmm. They're the cars that idiots drive in parades. That's a rat rod, right?
No.
No, in
They just don't have
fact,
any paint. They look like they're about to fall apart. But
they're either
designed-
mostly rust or primer.
I thought that was called a derelict.
No, it's called a rat rod.
Are we sure?
Yes.
Okay. No, I really thought it was called because that's like the.
Yes, the engines are exposed.
No. A derelict has become a design style for restoring quote unquote cars. Like they just look like shit.
Maybe rat rotting is a derelict might just be like you restore a GTO, but it looks like crap.
Well, yeah, it'd be
Or-
like a
or
car
like
from
a-
like the. Yeah.
Or like a rat rod is like the hot rod that you think of a hot rod that just looks like crap.
Right.
Maybe like a rat rod is a subset of a derelict. I don't know.
I'm sure there are rules governing this. That's why I'm asking because people who take hot rods to shows are very up their own ass. And you can come at me all you want about that one, but you know it's true. If you're driving a car that has a wooden dashboard, you have to be up your own ass.
Or you just like restoring
I'm
things as a
probably
hobby.
probably the oldest soul, at least among the three of us, and even I don't like wooden dashboards.
Well, that's what I'm saying. If the guy's going home and like taking the can of tongue oil and like rubbing it into, yeah, no, get out of here.
Get out of here.
So we pretty comfortable with the derelict or rat rod
I definitely
culture.
think he's
It-
right.
Is just that was a good one. Does anybody else have any other ideas? I mean, like, or
I
how
was-
much time before we got to switch? Like, I don't know.
I was going to say
If anybody else can think of some listeners,
Strictly American.
strictly American
Car
culture
cultures.
that will be hard pressed to find anywhere else.
I was going to say pony cars, but those aren't just here.
Australia, UK.
Right, but like
You can't just say Australia every time.
the mythology of the pony car being like,
The
you know what I
Grail.
mean? Yeah.
Oh,
And that was also old though too.
I had one. Actually, just zing through my mind. Although there are other places where these exist, like land speed record salt flat racing.
Salt flat for sure.
Yeah,
Well, people come here to do it,
right.
Yeah.
But there's international teams and competitors.
But it can't ever, well, because it's literally a geographical location. All Salt Flats runs have to be at Bonneville.
The culture is mostly here, is what I mean. Like,
Yeah.
even if the teams are international, they're here for years and weeks and months, minutes and decades at a time. Just throw the.
Years, weeks, months.
I
Minutes.
did not do that in
Decades.
I did not order that appropriately, but it's fine.
It's fine.
And that culture resides here, even if the attempts in engineering and stuff, I think,
Definitely.
are elsewhere. That might be kind of one.
That's a good one. I like. Tristan is on point today.
He's in
Rat
touch with the
rods
culture.
And he is. And Bonneville Racing. So if anybody else can think of any other ones, any listeners out there, write in your ideas. Send them in to us.
Yeah.
Facebook, Twitter,
Interested in
Insta,
here.
checkenginepodcast.com, inbox at checkenginepodcast.com. Before we move on, this is a side note, has nothing to do with the actual conversation, but I did go to dodgevanracing.com, their website, which is all in Japanese, obviously. So I did the old trusty Google Translate the page. Some of the article headlines that came out of the Google Translate were fantastic. So
I'm prepared. Maybe I'm not.
Dodge Bang in Japan gathers.
Uh-oh.
Metamorphosis Dodge van gathers a lot.
Not just sometimes. A lot.
Dodge van running meeting D-Van GP 10th holding.
Yes. Definitely yes.
And my personal favorite, Dodge Bar is an adult toy. What? And the what wasn't me. It was actually it was actually in the headline.
Oh, man. Translations never work.
No. Oh my god.
That one got me. Dodge
when
Bar
you-
is an adult toy.
It's like when you
What?
order those
That
questionable...
might be the episode name.
Dodge Bar is an adult toy. What?
It's like when you order those questionable Chinese knockoff electronics on Amazon and open the user guide.
Yeah.
That's what I had. You know,
That's funny.
car culture, counterculture, subculture.
Love it.
Who's next?
Mine's somewhat related, actually. It's all about...
Mine's not, so go ahead.
It's about I guess, an American subculture. We're recording this on November 2nd, which is...
So we are going to keep going with the dates.
Well, because it's specifically related to what I'm talking about here.
Okay.
Today's the last day of the SEMA show
Oh, yes.
in Las Vegas.
Yes.
And
I've actually been.
To SEMA?
Yep.
How? It's an industry event. It's closed to the public.
Know a guy who knew a guy who got his passes.
Oh, there you go. Well,
It's
interesting.
Nick. How does he ever do anything? He knows a guy.
Weird.
What's Serbian Mafia?
Well,
I almost literally went yuck right there.
yuck. Are you sure you're okay?
No. No, I'm
Is
not.
he ever?
Did you get CWD from the deer?
I don't think that comes from the antlers.
Chronic wasting disease.
Oh, I touched with the antlers.
Anyway.
Well, what I was saying before when we were talking about what we're going to brainstorm for this episode, everything in my brainstorming file is about Ford and or Tesla.
So he had to reach out to somewhere else.
I had to branch out.
He's
even
only going
though-
to talk about Fords and Teslas at SEMA.
Even though Ford is directly involved in this. But I don't talk about SEMA. It just ended today. Hot topic. I want to say fuck SEMA.
Okay.
I wasn't expecting anything different. Proceed.
Well, so SEMA apparently stands for Special Equipment Marketing Association.
Sure.
Sounds great. It's just a big wank show that brings together like OEM manufacturers and aftermarket manufacturers in order not to sell anything to anyone, but to promote their t-shirts and their energy drinks and to make one-off cars that are ugly and pointless. And they do some dumb thing like have neon inside the headlights, but the headlights are speakers. Like this is the kind of car that they have at SEMA.
Yeah.
He just took a bunch of... He Google searched top terms SEMA and then just put them all together.
Yeah, I just
Got
did a,
neon in the headlights, but the headlights are speakers for off-roading.
listen. This is not a joke. You'll see. It's like the logical extension of street culture, meaning as soon as
It is not only street culture. That's the crazy part.
well, no, because it's what happens when corporations get a hold of any aspect of car culture.
Yes.
Just saying street culture specifically because that was so strong in our generation. Like, the Fast
the
and
original
Furious
Fast and the
car.
Furious cars,
Yeah,
yes.
exactly. Anyways, here are the must-see features at SEMA 2018, according to a website called SEMA.com.
Is that actually their official website?
That is their official website.
I was
So
hoping
this
it
is
wasn't.
what SEMA lists as their own must-see features.
Must see.
If you have to come to this show, if you come to this show, this is what you have to see.
this.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, go.
First, you have to go to the quad. It's a job fair.
Are they going streaking through the quad?
No, it's just a job fair. Who cares? Second, you have to see the new product showcase. That's where, sorry, I have a direct quote. The new product showcase is the #1 destination for buyers and media in search of the latest and most exciting products to hit the aftermarket. Shut up. Shut up. Next, there's the Hoonigan Summer of Shred.
What was wrong with that?
Listen,
That's a trade show.
That's what
I
a
mean,
trade show
yeah.
is, man. Like,
They're all like that.
but
You
here's
can't
the
hate on that one.
what?
I don't think you can hate on that one.
Of course I can.
that's how all trade shows are in any industry. New
But
product showcases.
that doesn't mean it's great. Then outside of that, there's the Hoonigan Summer of Shred for the people who are just cans of Monster Energy.
They've just turned into Monster Energy.
There's some stupid wait in line thing for the Polaris Slingshot. Idiots.
Like, you get to drive it?
No, you get driven in it.
I was hoping it would be the last one to be standing in line where you get a Polaris. Like, the longer you can wait, the more likely your chances are.
Could be. There's the Optima Streetcar Alley, just in case you want to visit the mistakes other people have made in their garage.
Is that the battery company? Okay.
Yes, it is.
Not
batteries?
not the Hyundai.
No,
Not the
the
Kia
battery
Got it.
company, correct.
Yes. Okay.
And they have like a parade, something.
Great batteries, by the way. Separately.
Then there are first time and features exhibitor areas, which are obviously pay for prime placement spots.
Yep. Another
There's
trade show standard. Mm-hmm. Pay more to get featured.
Yeah, there's the Continental Extreme Driving Experience, which is a hot lap in a parking lot
And what?
in the BMW 3 Series.
Does it come with the sweater and the glasses and the Bluetooth?
No, you're a visitor here, sir. You do not get any of this.
Oh, it's just the driver.
But it
has
is
that.
fully wrapped in a Conti,
Oh,
sticker.
yeah, okay.
So there's that. There's something called quote unquote Hot Wheels. You have to go see Hot Wheels.
Yeah, they make life-size Hot Wheel cars.
Yeah, Hot Wheels is celebrating the 50 years
Yep.
of blah, 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 blah. Whatever. They go to cities to find custom built cars. Actually, this one's pretty cool. They do actually have a contest where people apply to be a Hot Wheels car. / they do it the other direction too, where they make life-size versions of Hot Wheels cars. That's actually pretty cool. I can't complain about that. That's cool.
So, like, an aftermarket shop will make a car and say, hey, make ours a little
or
die
people.
cast.
It doesn't have to be an aftermarket car. Like people can submit into this contest their
Their own cars. That's pretty cool.
But it's also Hot Wheels thing. It doesn't necessarily have anything to do with SEMA. You know what I mean? I don't want to compliment SEMA clearly. Nah. But that is cool. The Hot Wheels thing is cool. Then there's the SEMA Cruise and the SEMA Drive. Apparently they're different. I don't care. Finally, this is the key. This is the linchpin. This is the last thing they have on the site. You must see this. Ford out front. Ford was a company that used to make cars.
In case anybody forgot.
It's like some kind of Ford show. They don't make cars anymore. So
I'm
clearly,
sure they just take Raptors and
well, as I
add
said,
more
clearly
shit to
it's
them
like
and then put them outside.
Yeah, it's like one Mustang doing a burnout and then like 2 Raptors.
Yep.
Bet. Anyways, tonight is the 2018. Actually, I think it was last night. The 2018 SEMA Awards banquet. They have a special musical guest. Can you guess who it is? Try to think of the most washed up band that's the most overrated by people who would go to a show like SEMA.
Ooh. Blink 182.
Matchbox 20.
That's actually better. ZZ Top.
Oh.
It's worse than both. ZZ Top?
How is ZZ Top in a SEMA show?
Because it's the hot rod culture. That's like, it's
Yeah, but it's more like street tuner. That's more like hip hop and ED.
ZZ Top?
No, that's what we're saying. It should
Oh,
be.
It shouldn't be
Yeah, it
ZZ
shouldn't
Top
be ZZ
because
Top.
it's not like
Listen.
it's not like hot rod culture like 1930s engine bay exposed hot rods. It's Hondas and
But no one hip hop or EDM is going to play goddamn SEMA.
there's people who would play SEMA.
Apparently not. They got ZZ Top. You didn't think they tried to get a hotter act? Either they didn't, whatever. Anyways, to me, everything about SEMA is a work. It's fraudulent. It's a fiction because it's all corporate. They've taken the elements of street tuner culture that were sort of organically brought up. People literally putting cold cathodes under their cars to make the lights go, and then that becomes commercialized through street glow and stuff like that. The next level of that is SEMA. It's 2 or 3 levels detached from actual car culture, and it's just a bunch of industry people getting together to convince themselves that they're doing the right thing and they're doing something that people are interested in. It drives me kind of crazy.
It's a trade show. I mean, I don't see why that's a big deal.
You spend a lot of your job time at trade shows.
Yes.
This is your world.
It's a trade show. There's nothing wrong with industry professionals showing other industry professionals in media what's new and what's going on, what we've been doing.
I disagree. Because theoretically...
Then how are you going to drive demand for your product?
That's not what this is about. Theoretically, everything at SEMA...
It kind of is.
It's not, though, because theoretically, everything at SEMA should be directed towards the consumer. It's not just a big jerk-off show. They can do that behind closed doors if they really wanted to do that, right? So this should be for the consumer, don't you think?
That's what a car show is. Like the Detroit Motor Show or the Chicago Auto Show. Consumers can come in and look.
But consumers aren't good enough for this. They're not connected enough with the
There are industry
culture.
shows for any industry.
Yeah, they're not the target audience.
They're not the target audience. There's separate target audiences. The target audience doesn't always have to be the consumer.
Because there are catalogs that need to buy 4 different kinds of underglow to sell to people who modify their cars. Which ones are they going to carry? It's all business stuff. It's boring. To me, I don't like it, but it's also not any different than everything from vacuum cleaners to vinyl siding. Like,
So then let's address
To dental
Yeah.
products to
Yeah.
like they all have it.
Well, then let's address the theory that this is a trade show in the same way that other shows are trade shows. Let's go with that because I don't believe it at all. So here are some things that OEM manufacturers brought to this show. You know, not tuning shops, not custom works, anything. These are what OEM manufacturers brought and specifically hyped to media outlets, which are for consumers, by the way, not industry publications. So there's
Not always.
No. These were sent to Car and Driver. That's not an industry publication. That's a consumer publication.
Okay, but you didn't send them directly to the consumer. You need the media push to help sell your product. That's why they do it. We do the same thing. Our company has every week in June, we have a media event. We invite people in from construction publications, from social media pages who focus on tool reviews, all the way through, and we show them our stuff because then they in turn push it to the consumer.
So here's some of the stuff the OEMs brought. Nissan brought a 370Z with a brand new twin turbo engine, something.
Yeah, I saw that.
Track configuration. Doesn't matter. They also brought a heavily modified Nissan Kicks, and this is really directed towards the rest of the industry, clearly. Just full of speakers and a DJ deck in the back. A lot of people are going to be ordering that one.
It's the wow factor, which draws people into the booth.
Ford brought 7 modified Rangers. Different camping shit on most of them. VW really showed out. They brought a Jetta and a Golf with some retro paint on them, and the Jetta had a bike rack. That was big. Acura brought a 345 horsepower Acura RDX. Whatever. That's an SUV, by the way, if anyone didn't know. One interesting thing was debuted. One thing that actually kind of speaks to what you think this show is. The new Camaro SS nose debuted.
Is that the one that looks like a snoot?
Well, the thing is...
With the bow tie like moved down in the grill?
No. They moved it back up.
Good.
But here's the issue. Chevy brought too many Camaros. So they all have different noses. So they premiered the new nose in a field of... It's impossible to tell. They literally brought like 7. And some of them have one style and some of them have another. So I don't know which one's the new one. They didn't change it enough. Very weird.
I guess that's my biggest argument about in favor of kind of what Andrew's saying is that I think there are elements of a trade show that are, I would say, what it originally kind of started out being. But the problem is cars have a lot of culture. They have a lot of glamour. They sell a lot of magazines. Things like vinyl siding and power tools and dental appliances are not something that do that. So the fact that those are industry only shows, no one cares.
Yeah, we can't pretend that they're selling fucking gutter liners here. They're not.
But
I didn't say they were.
But I think all the stuff that you have a problem with is the trade show elements. What you want it to be is is 2 separate events. There needs to be a car show,
Or you want SEMA just to be open to the public.
But
then,
the other part of it is
just
a
sell
trade
tickets.
show.
But the other part of this is, it's not that I want it to be a car show. It's that half of this is a car show. They have multiple car parades. They have, you know what I mean? There are publications like Car and Driver and not specifically Car and Driver because obviously they're massive, but they're publications that are making this event the centerpiece of a month of publication. You know what I mean? This isn't just for industry people. It's not the same as a tool show. This is showing out. This is OEM manufacturers showing out in order to generate public interest.
Right.
But here's the thing to remember. Your argument is that the things for the consumer happen at the car show. They don't. They happen here. Excuse me. That was disgusting. It was horrific. Anyways, your argument was that the consumers are, the car show's for the consumers. This is for industry people. Sure, I guess I can buy a little bit of that with the major exception that the best stuff, the stuff that people actually want to see, consumers want to see, happens at SEMA. It does not happen at car shows. So this isn't just for industry people. This is for people of the culture, but they can't go. You can't go. It's not for you.
It's a trickle-down effect because companies know they can't hit every single person all the time. So if they invite industry professionals, media publications, whatever else in to see it, they may be able to go out and hit people that the company might not hit. So yeah, eventually it ends up, people are going to show pictures from what happened at SEMA. Like
they do that at Detroit and LA too.
I can be at SEMA as an industry professional and take a bunch of pictures on my phone and come back and show you if you didn't go. Eventually that stuff is going to get out. And it's more of like a buckshot. Like, hey, let's give it to all these people who have all these different touch points and the network grows and let's get our name out there. Yeah, eventually it's going to get to the consumer.
They do all that stuff at Frankfurt, and they do all that stuff at LA, and they did all that stuff at Detroit until people stopped going.
Yes, but it's for a different market.
That's for like someone who goes to a car dealership to buy a car.
It's really not. I can tell you
It's
from
not
personal
for
the
experience.
auto show.
The auto show.
Yes.
I can tell you personal experience. Frankfurt is not for people who just go to the dealership and buy a car. They have the most extravagant displays anywhere in the world in relating to cars at Frankfurt. They just do.
But what cars are they showing?
They're showing the one-off R8s. They're showing race cars. They're showing the Euros there.
So how is that targeted at the consumer?
They released the
consumer
Reventon.
can't buy a race car.
Well, yeah, but it's not a trade show. It's open to the public.
But a consumer is going to buy that.
What?
A consumer, I can't go buy a one-off R8 race car.
I mean, theoretically, you probably could if you had the money. I'm just saying, this event, as it's presented, as sort of, in one sense, it's presented as the pinnacle of the car show year. You have to throw everything that you possibly can at SEMA as an OEM manufacturer to make it stick. The other hand is, no. This is a trade show. This is just theories. This is practice. But let's make sure that we bring Hot Wheels. Let's make sure that we have six parades. Let's make sure that
that I understand. When you were going through the list and you're like, oh, who cares? Who cares? That's dumb. Who cares? Who cares? I was like, okay, but the people who are going to this as an industry trade show, they care. But the problem is, what you need to do is either have two separate shows or realize that there will be parts of the show that one half of the people, if you like sell tickets publicly and like give industry professionals tickets, there are going to be parts of the show that one or the other doesn't really care about.
Well,
I think that's okay. I don't think that's necessarily something that couldn't happen. In my opinion, what I'm taking from this and what I would like to see is for SEMA to be a public auto show, not primarily focused. Now, you'll see stuff at an auto show like when Hyundai brought that weird like Walking Dead Tucson, or Nissan brings their Star Wars modified Rogues and stuff like that. Like, you get that kind of stuff to car, but that's not the primary focus. The primary focus is what are the automobiles we are going to be selling to the public. There are things that are of interest to draw people into the booth, but there's like one or two things compared to like at the Audi booth, like when you went to Frankfurt, that like totally chromed out R8. There was one of those.
Right.
And then it was next to an A2 in Germany, an A3, A4, A5, A6, S5. Like, all the consumer cars are there to be drawn on by the people who come to look at these modified cars. And I would say SEMA should be an auto show in that vein, but flipped on its head, where people go to see the modified cars that then has some spillover into what they end up buying. The primary one would be, what are people going to buy to modify their cars?
Right.
Versus, like, what cars are they going to buy first. Like that's kind of what the kind of the show could be. The shows could be inverse of each other. And as long as it was actually billed as an audit, I think you have what I'm feeling is you have an issue with truth in billing.
Absolutely.
It's being advertised as a trade show. When if it was a trade show, nobody would go and nobody would cover it in the media.
Yeah, exactly.
Like again, I'm saying great.
But the media is part of the trade is the thing now.
Right, but
arguably yes, but
for
they don't
car
cover the
culture-
actual trade shows they go to. This is a fucking carnival.
right, like
They
like
have a banquet and an award ceremony. This is a trade show in the same way what we do is a trade show. It's just okay, sure, kind of.
Trade shows I
but
go
not
to
really.
have banquets and award ceremonies.
right, and
Award ceremonies?
I think the problem is we're looking at a difference in
Oh my god!
a difference
pretty
in
standard now.
scope.
For what? What are these awards?
Highest sales growth, vendor of the year, supporter of the, they just, yeah.
Oh my god!
It
So
happens.
we found out there's a lot that Andrew doesn't know about trade shows. Which
They blame our generation for wanting awards. Oh my god!
it is our generation. It's Nick.
Yeah, it's us. I'm going to these trade shows. No, I think my solution to this is a lot of times they do this at any car show, like the normal quote unquote car shows anyway. So what's SEMA? 5 days? 4 days? 5 days?
Yeah, like 5 days.
5 days. Day 1 and 2,
Media industry day.
media and industry only.
Are you saying so? Do this like an actual car show?
Right.
Day 3, 4,
That's what I said.
yeah. Day 3, 4, and 5, open it up to the public.
Exactly what they do at Frankfurt.
Right.
Right. I don't think we have a.
We don't have a problem with the way it should, like, that should be fine, but what I'm arguing is, like, the issue with the trade shows. Like, there's nothing wrong with anything you're talking about.
It's fairly standard behavior.
My problem with it, which I said right at the beginning, my problem is that it's fraudulent. They're presenting, like I said, a carnival as a trade show. I mean, yes, there are aspects of a trade show in here, but the aspect of the trade show in here is the one new part. What the heck was it called? The new product showcase. That's your trade show. And the quad, which is the job fair.
The quad, the job fair, the awards ceremony.
Yeah, I suppose. But the SEMA Cruise, the SEMA Drive, the Hot Wheels thing, the Ford Out Front, the stupid Polaris thing, not so much.
There's always product demos and stuff like that at trade shows.
We're saying that the...
Like for Continental,
Right.
like for a tire company, take somebody through a handling course. That's advertisement. Like when you're talking about power tools, sure, you got a board you're drilling holes in. That's your advertisement. It's less exciting, but that's because overall it's less exciting than performance car parts.
Yeah, it's less exciting.
I think you're looking at a sliding scale of industry trade shows. It's like you could line up a bunch of tires and go, look, tires, or you could demonstrate your product. And the demonstration of these products are branded, and I think that's the nature of how it works. Now, I don't disagree with the fact that I don't even disagree with the term fraudulent, because my biggest thing is if they're going to bring in these OEMs. I mean, early in SEMA, you barely saw them. Like 15, 20 years ago.
It wasn't for.
It was people who were modifying, or the distributors, like the catalog.
Was exclusively catalogs and aftermarket.
Right.
Parts
so,
manufacturers.
and that's why I think
that's a trade show.
Right. And that's why I think it's grown beyond being able to be defined that way, and the fact that they'll produce like for example, that like 370Z Club Sport, people would buy that.
But they're not going to.
And they're never going to make it, right? And that's I think that's the problem is that
Never.
and I think that part of like the flip side. I mean, I enjoy watching at SEMA every year because I think they're still focused on it because they don't partner with anybody in particular. I mean, I follow on Facebook the ARB off-road people, and they're like every year they kind of short circuit the media portion of it because they'll pitch directly to like supply catalogs and modifiers, and they're people on Facebook and be like, hey, we built this Tacoma, we built a Wrangler, we built a Ram 1500 for overlanding, like and actually show their product,
right.
And I think that's kind of what it started out as. And I think because I kind of hinted at it when I said it's not only a street show, because they kind of expanded into anything you can modify a car with.
Right.
And
originally modifying cars was modifying them for the street.
Right. And then they added things like off-road though. So like
right.
I think specifically off-road manufacturers, now not necessarily like Ford with their 8 different kinds of Raptors or Rangers or whatever. like they've mostly modified them. They may have purchased parts from somebody, but like they don't highlight that. They highlight their vehicle.
Yes.
There are still vendors that go with like 3 different manufacturers of vehicle, and they're like, "Hey, look at all the stuff we made."
Right.
And that's where that heart of the trade show still lives. And I think you need to separate those two. That's my argument: is that SEMA can continue to exist as a trade show, and then you need to have like the SEMA show, or like come up with like a separate name for it, where it's just all the stuff for consumers, you know?
I think call it the same thing, just let the consumers. But here's the thing that really clinched this for me as something that was fraudulent in the sense that, yes, they have awards. They're not really giving these awards away fairly. Would you like to know who won a shit ton of awards this year at SEMA?
Ford.
Ford. You want to know what they won for? This is on the Ford media page. By the way, their stock's back to almost, $9.50. Hey, good for them.
SEMA show. SEMA bump.
SEMA bump. Here are the cars that won. The Mustang.
For what?
The Mustang got SEMA Car of the Year.
Okay.
The F-150 collected Truck of the Year for the 8th time in 9 years. The Focus won Vehicle of the Year. That's not a car that they make anymore. They don't make the Focus.
That's why it's not car of the year. It's
They don't make
vehicle
that.
of the year.
Vehicle of the Year. That won for the 4th straight year. Okay. Let's talk about this for real for a second here, because
It's JD Power.
it has to be.
You-
It has to be a
you-
JD Power situation.
Yep, you pay for the award.
You pay for the
Yep.
award. And, come on. Why? Why is it this way?
See, that's what, I would have started at things like that. That would have been my problem with SEMA. Not the fact that they...
That would have been my lead,
Listen,
man.
not that they have a new product showcase. That's
So?
fine. That doesn't anger me in any way. But things like that would be like, okay, that's why I get all ramped up.
My whole point was that contrast the fact that they have a new parts, a new product showcase with 3 parades, the Polaris Slingshot experience, the Continental driving experience, the Monster Energy experience. That is my issue, where it's side activities that you'd find at a racetrack, that you'd find at a goddamn state fair. If they don't have a corn dog stand here, by the way, you have to riot. I'm just, you know what I mean? It's
I
this-
riot whenever I don't find a corn dog stand.
It's the superposition of two things, then the gating off of this event to saying professionals only industry people could ever understand this.
You just
It's
want
like-
Check Engine Podcast to get in. That's
I mean,
all.
we could. We're industry people.
But we're not professionals. We shout
Doesn't
it out
matter.
every...
Industry people. We're in the industry, bro.
Bruh.
I wonder what you got to do to it. Like, you just go apply for passes?
We know how well that worked, Road America.
Well, I'm genuinely curious now, because we have a place to stay in Vegas.
That's what I'm saying.
Just saying.
Yeah. Anyways, that is my rant on SEMA. Clearly, it's just a normal trade show. Totally normal. Nothing to see here. This is totally normal.
Yeah, I don't see any problem with
Nick,
pretty much any
who
of it,
has
except for the
regular
awards.
Nick, who goes regularly to SEMA.
I went one time.
That's regularly.
I will
For a
say,
non-industry person.
honestly, the Hot Wheels thing is legit. That's pretty sweet.
Yes.
That you could build a project car of such quality that Hot Wheels could actually make toys of it. That's lit.
That's sweet.
I like that.
Besides the award thing, which is obviously just paid for, and maybe just changing it to like public days versus industry days, like I really don't have any problem with anything that goes on at SEMA.
He would just like an award, please. SEMA Visitor of the Year.
Yep. Check Engine Podcast, SEMA Visitors of the Year. Then not only would we be a podcast produced by 3 winners of IMSA's Spirit of the Race Award.
SEMA's Visitors of the Year award.
You know what? I might just give us that award anyway.
so
Let's just
do
make
it.
up a plaque.
Let's just do it.
Only Nick has been there, but it's fine.
SEMA, it doesn't matter. We're visitors.
Don't
We
even
need
worry
more. We need more support so we can pay them for
SEMA
it.
non-visitors of the year. Anyways, fuck SEMA. Nick thinks it's totally normal.
It's cool.
I'm somewhere in the middle. I see the trade.
This is kind of how it goes
Yeah,
with us.
I see the trade show as totally normal. I wish that the other part of it was its own thing that people could just go to. So anyway, that's me.
Also, one of the things at the show, to go back to the hot rod thing, is a 1949 Mercury Coupe,
Yeah, coupe.
whatever,
Yes,
with an electric motor, whatever.
and batteries from.
No, and derelict design. It's a derelict.
Oh, it looks It looks
Derelict
shitty.
EV. It looks like
Yes.
shit.
However, where are the batteries from?
I don't know.
Tesla.
Are they?
Yes.
I thought that was the 911.
No. Well, maybe also.
Yes,
But-
there was also an.
But the one you're talking about, the drivetrain and batteries are out of a like P150DS.
Oh, that's
printer thing.
That's got wide-reaching industry applications. I can definitely see why they brought that to a trade show.
Here's something we can agree on. Tesla heat check.
Out.
I'm obviously out. Why would anyone
Out.
ever ask me?
I was hoping that when you said what the whatever and you just said in, I was like, oh, what?
Just to be a dick.
Here's the thing, though. Here's the thing. Now Elon is banned.
Yep.
We'll see. That's all I'm going to say.
Yep.
We won't get the whole thing. We will see.
Tristan, your topic.
I'm out of time. We're over an hour.
Is that an hour already?
Yeah.
Yeah, we did it again. Hooray for us.
Woo! All right, we'll make Tristan's a spark plug or something. I don't know.
I mean, we could just keep going.
Our last one was long.
Yeah, our last one was an hour 20. Go.
I'll keep it short.
Fuck it.
Hit it.
It actually, weirdly, I was not expecting an easy transition. But what I'm going to talk about is what happens when SEMA is not fraudulent. And
What?
and things that the OEMs pick up at SEMA actually, even if it's not individual actual accessories or parts,
Right.
but ideas, make it from SEMA to production.
Which is incredibly rare. You have to
It's
underline
incredibly
that.
rare, except in one segment. And
Is this? Wait, let me guess. Is it tents that attach to cars?
No, although related.
Yes.
It is off-road stuff. So there are many various sizes and classes and things that you could go down a real rabbit hole here, but kind of what I had thought about was the full-size off-road truck
So that like F-150, Silverado.
and all of their variations. Now this was spawned by a coworker purchasing a Raptor, because he wanted a fast truck.
Yeah. Yes.
He's not going to probably ever take it off-road.
Well, no.
And what he really wanted was for them to still be making the SVT Lightning,
Yeah.
Gotcha.
to be honest. But that got me thinking. I was like, because I would never buy one. I would never buy a Raptor.
or a Lightning?
I'd never buy a Raptor. I have no interest in that particular kind of off-road ability.
What really do you mean by that? Because theoretically, Raptor. Hold on, Raptor. What's the Chevy one?
Allow me to get to this.
Okay.
That's where I'm going.
Okay.
They are not all the same. They are, by design, very different.
Okay.
I don't know about trucks.
So, Chevy does not, as far as
This
I
is going
know,
to be short.
other than a light package, a Z whatever package, they don't
Right.
have a full size off-road specific truck. Now they do have the Colorado.
The Colorado ZR2
Yes,
is pretty...
with all the doodads, and before that it was the Colorado. I don't know if it was like the pre-production name or whatever they call it, the Trail Boss.
Isn't
Yes.
there a GMC some package there? No.
No,
It's not-
and like I said,
not
all it
like
is
a
is
Raptor.
all it
It's
is
not
a
even
light
close.
packaging
Yeah.
redesign.
Where does the Ram Runner fit in this?
The what?
Ram.
So
Not
that's
Runner,
where I'm
Power
going.
Wagon.
Yeah, so really in my mind there are four that really matter:
Okay.
the Raptor,
Yes.
the Power Wagon,
Okay.
the Tacoma TRD Pro, or the Tundra TRD Pro,
Yes.
and the Nissan Titan Pro 4X.
Isn't that the DX or the XD?
It's the Titan XD Pro 4X.
the emoji one.
Yeah. If they figured out how many X's they could put in a truck, it's only 2. It tops out at 2. The Titan XD Pro 4X.
X. Yes. Yeah. Well, it's technically 5 X's.
4X is true. That's right. Technically, it's 5. Just multiplication kicks in. So, and it struck me as I was thinking, okay, why would I never buy a Raptor? But I had this like weird, I would definitely consider buying a Power Wagon thing going on
I understand where you're coming from.
because they're different.
Is the Power Wagon all diesel?
They're not.
They're not.
In fact, none of them are. They're all 5.7 liters. They're all Hemis.
Really? I thought they were a diesel.
we will get to the ones that are diesel.
This guy.
I did my research. So I was like, why do I have this weird attraction to the Power Wagon versus I would never buy a Raptor? How could they be that different?
I think it's a valid question.
So I went and looked.
Uh-huh.
They are all designed for different applications of off-road driving. Like a quote-unquote performance car.
Right.
Think about things all the way from like the smallest Lotus to like an M5 to a Lamborghini. They're all performance cars, but they all have their own little subset of focus.
Yes.
And the off-road trucks are like that.
Okay.
And so the Raptor is designed to be and actually often used as the base for straight desert racing. Like Baja 1000 stuff. The Ford uses it as in basically its stock form as their pre-runner for their actual Baja 1000 trucks. That's what it's for. It's for soaking up big dips and divots in sand. And
did you see the guy who took one off a jump like that?
Yeah.
Hilarious.
Yeah. That's why you use them as pre-runners, and then you modify them even further to actually do that.
Yeah, those airbags are going to go off, my guy.
Yeah. So that's what people think they are.
It handled it pretty well, though.
It did. It didn't actually come to pieces.
No!
It was definitely broken, but not in 1,000 pieces.
Anyways.
So that's kind of the Raptor is a race truck.
Yep. 100%.
Now, not in the nationwide truck series style of race truck, but in the off-road racing, and it's designed as such. I think it is. It has the lowest payload, the longest suspension travel, the biggest wheels.
Really? The actual wheel diameter?
Yep. And their offset way to the outside.
And it goes on the road going boingy.
Right, and very softly sprung.
It's like a hammock.
And driving a hammock.
95.
And compare that to the Power Wagon, which I think
I've never seen one.
I think they are
Besides in pictures,
they are oddly hard to see because they're not or at least
always lurking,
or just dart out from behind that shrub or
they're
something.
They're harder to tell apart from a regular 2500 Dodge. Then
I suppose they don't have the paint with Raptor down the side.
Right, and they don't have that weirdly aggressive stance. The wheels are well inside the wheel wells and everything else. And so they have bigger all-terrain tires, and they've got relatively large wheels, and they do have a solid clearance, but they don't really stick out even among modified trucks. You could get a 2500 Dodge Ram and throw a little bit of a suspension lift and some bigger wheels on it, and it would look like a Power Wagon. No, it wouldn't be. Because they have lockable front and rear diffs. They have a from the factory behind the bumper winch.
Really?
Wow.
Yep.
On the front?
Yep, they have crawl ratios. They have
so it's a rock crawler.
Yep,
Stoked for Moab, bro.
Electrically disconnecting front and rear sway bars. It is low speed. I'm going to go over there. Damn whatever is in my way. I'm going to go over there. And I think that is definitely different. So you're not gonna drive a Power Wagon at 100 miles an hour over the sand. You will simply fall apart if the truck doesn't. It's not designed for that.
Right.
You'll fall apart before the truck does, I imagine.
Maybe.
Because don't they? There's something in my head going off. So sorry, we're talking about the Ram Power Wagon.
Power Wagon. 2500.
Wasn't there something about a Ram Runner?
There's a Ram Charger.
Ram Charger?
And that was way back in the day.
Okay.
That was I think 80s or something, where it was like a SUV souped up Ram kind of thing.
Anyway.
But the Power Wagon is, I think, probably because it's FCA.
Oh, sorry, in 2011, Mopar released a Ram Runner upfit, which is a pre-runner kit.
Yes.
For a Dodge Ram. Okay.
Right. Yep. So there's carrying on in the tradition of the original Power Wagon, which is often retrofitted or designed to be a tow truck and a bunch of other stuff, where it's literally this is meant to be a very powerful
A wagon of power.
truck. Yeah, it's a, and so it's got a ton of horsepower.
Coming
It
from
has,
someone who works in brand, it's a good name.
yeah, it works.
Quality.
It works. We're gonna build a powerful wagon. What should we call it?
Should win an award for that.
Best obvious truck name 2018.
That's right. Put that
So-
on our end of year award show.
Right? And it has the most payload, the most towing capacity. It is
Really?
meant it's meant to do a bunch of stuff.
So that like if you if you're buying your truck genuinely going to go off road, is that the one you want?
That's what I would buy if I wanted to. For example, it would be an excellent base for one of those like truck campers. Where
Sure.
like you put like the little camper thing in the bed and it's got the fold up bit at the top, and you want to then take that somewhere out in the middle of nowhere on Bureau of Land Management land out west and go camping because it's super capable off-road, really high payload, all that stuff. And then you have the Tundra TRD Pro, which is
How is that different from a regular Tundra though? Isn't it just kit stuff?
it is upfitted in almost every manner.
Oh.
So it's suspension, arms, wheels, tires. The 4-wheel drive ratios are different. All sorts of stuff like that. I think it's got like bespoke for Toyota Fox off-road shocks.
Sure.
Like a bunch of stuff like that. And that's for people who want to go camping in their truck but not have a camper.
Just lay in the bed.
They're the ones that want to
Hardcore.
sleep in the tent.
Ah.
That you were talking. I
okay.
told you I'd get to that. They're the ones that want to sleep in the tent attached to the top of their truck. That's for them.
Nice.
So that's the term is overlanding.
Oh my god.
There's a term for it.
There's a
there
term
is.
for everything.
Yes,
You know where they invented that term?
Australia.
SEMA.
Australia,
It's
actually.
Australia.
Australians love that, by the way, because they've got a lot of space in the middle of that country where nothing really is. So
Right.
they just take their trucks and just drive.
Over
And-
the land.
Exactly. Obvious pastime name 2018. So that's kind of the difference there, is that this is meant to be like almost like a ready-built expedition vehicle. I believe the TRD Pro line comes with an option from the factory for snorkels.
Can't you get those on? Oh wait, not from the factory.
Right. You can say Toyota.
See, if I'd have been allowed into SEMA, I would know.
I would like one of these with a snorkel.
Yeah.
Like I'm saying, like you could tell Toyota.
Oh, yeah.
So and like that's kind of what they're going for, is this like caravan through Africa or through the Australian bush or through.
What's weird is that people usually use SUVs for that, which I've never fully understood.
They use SUVs and they use Toyota trucks. Yeah.
Really, two classes of people.
Really,
Yes.
it's the taco mostly.
The taco?
Short for Tacoma.
Don't do that.
No, it's not.
Don't say that like we should know.
You should know, and now you do. Congratulations.
The taco.
The Tacoma is particularly fond of for that, but that's
I thought Mexican was like the cuisine of choice in the Outback there for a second.
I thought maybe that was the name of that truck in other countries.
No, it's not. But anyway, and then you have the
Nissan.
yes, the Titan XD Pro 4X, which is none of these things.
What?
It
Is this a pretender?
to a certain extent, yes.
Oh my god.
They label it as like its own separate line, and
Yeah.
it does have some things like the custom shock upgrades, but really this is just a truck.
So, I mean, my question really is, the assumption, right, of anyone who buys a truck is that if you buy a regular F-150 off the lot, you could do camping or do rock crawling or do any of this stuff.
I don't know if anyone assumes they can do
Rock
rock
crawling,
crawling with a
but-
stock
Well,
F-150.
okay,
But certainly-
watch a truck advertisement and tell me there's no rock crawling in it.
There's no rock crawling, but there definitely is implied or often explicit off-roading.
Exactly.
Yes. So no, but this is where it's kind of weird to me that the Pro 4X Titan, it basically is just a regular truck with a couple of upgraded components, including locking diffs and a couple other things like that. But it's made this like huge deal out of. But it's like if you just want a truck, that can do a little bit more. All these others are dramatically more expensive and have...
What kind of prices are we talking about?
I would have to pull them all up again. I don't have them off the top of my head. But...
Well, isn't it Raptor like 50, 45, 50?
Raptor's north of that, I'm pretty
Yeah,
sure.
Really?
70 in any
No.
in any configuration you would actually buy it.
Yep.
No.
Yes.
How much is a RAM?
I think that's in the high 50s.
Jesus Christ.
So,
Hang in there.
Um,
Need a snorkel?
I don't think that would help with this.
Okay.
SEMA Best Cough 2018.
Yeah,
He's an award winner.
I won.
Victory.
So, what I've discovered is that
You actually want a Chrysler product?
I do.
Well,
That's not
You genuinely
unsurprising,
considered a RAM, though.
I did.
Yeah.
I did. I almost purchased one.
Yeah.
A regular one. So not
Right.
even a Power Wagon. But because for me, yes, I mostly see kind of the things you would find. I call it like cold weather off-roading. Where the
Just
kind
driving when the roads aren't plowed.
right. The kind of stuff that you see.
Winter?
Yes.
A season?
the kind of things you see in places that have winter. So Colorado, the north in general, where it's this kind of lower speed.
Like Winterfell.
Yes, Dodge Power Wagon, King of the North. So
I am genuinely interested in this because, like I said at the top of this segment, I don't know anything about trucks, so I just assumed that more or less they were all the same from a material standpoint, and what they chose to advertise, much like in the rest of the commercials, is just what tiny little area they faked their way into a lead in.
right,
You know what I mean?
it's like most payload versus most
In its class.
towing. Yeah, in its class.
In its
And its
class.
class is only itself.
Exactly.
Like, yeah. And no, and that's I think my assumption was the same.
Yeah.
But I actually looked at it and I was like, okay, actually there's a lot more to this than I thought. And
There is.
with the exception of maybe, I don't know, Nick, how much you've done in like out in Vegas, like bombing around the sand. Mm-hmm. But I would say concerted off-road driving, I've probably done the most. And it seemed to me that I knew a lot about it. Turns out I know a lot about a very certain small subset of this and nothing about off-road trucks.
Well, now you do, though.
So,
Based on what you were saying, though, I would have pegged you as the Tundra guy. The overlanding. That seems like kind of your thing.
more or less, it would be between the Power Wagon and the TRD Pro.
Well, you got to remember that he's been stoked for Moab for 4 years.
Yeah, he's been
Right.
stuck
However
for a
long he's
time.
had the Jeep.
Yeah.
And that's what it comes down to, is that, and also I have become a much bigger fan of what most would consider glamping
Ugh. Just stay at a goddamn hotel, you idiots.
versus actual hardcore camping. Like, yeah, if I could have my truck that would tow the trailer with the motorcycles on it and then have like some lovely hard shell enclosure with an air conditioner on the back of it, that's more my style than throwing a tent on top of my truck.
I thought you liked camping.
Okay.
I don't mind camping. I quite enjoy it in the right month. October, mostly.
Well, anyways, I think that's interesting because I was actually looking at trucks online as, part of another episode that we'll have coming out in the future. And as like an off-road vehicle, the one that I looked at as being the one most realistic to what I could actually do off-road was the Tacoma. The Taco.
There you go. He's learning.
There it is.
It's adorable. Look at him go.
Look at it.
First steps.
Best Knowledge 2018.
Another award winner right here. Man, we are just racking them up. We need a bigger
right.
trophy case.
Absolutely. Gotta get some shelves. Maybe we could go pick up the lumber in the Power Wagon.
And that is what the support on Patreon can do for us.
That's right. We can get an award
Shelves
shelf.
for our awards.
And we can buy ourselves awards.
If we pay the SEMA
Just like
people
Ford
enough,
does.
they'll give us awards.
Just like
so.
Ford does.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
anybody who goes through JD Power.
Exactly.
And with that, Feel like it's about time to wrap up.
I think so.
How long was that?
119.
Oh,
So
that's beautiful.
yeah, we're right on track with our last episode. Guys, who are we thanking?
I would like to thank no. I was going to thank Tesla, but no, I'm not going to do that.
Never do that.
Never do that. I would actually like to thank VW because as funny as it was that what they brought to SEMA was 2 cars with paint on them, they actually did like retro 70s paint stripes perfectly. You have to see them. They're gorgeous on the cars.
So thank you to Volkswagen for nailing the retro look. Mm-hmm. Tristan?
I would like to thank fall as being the best season to have anything with a motor.
It's just the best season in general.
It's
in my opinion.
yeah, but we're the Check Engine podcast, so But I love fall. The initials would say the same if we were the Check Everything podcast.
Exactly.
But I was driving here this evening, and it was like perfect, like paintable fall weather. It was
Leaves cascading.
yeah,
down.
it was like me in the car, and leaves would blow across the road, and then I'd buzz over them in the WRX, and
sun glinting.
and they'd fly up behind me, and there was like orange and brown fields and a sunset. And I'm like,
listening to Radar Love.
and this is like, it looks like kind of when you described Forza.
Oh yeah, exactly.
Like you're driving through this like beautiful fall landscape, and I'm like, yeah,
fall landscape. It's the
I
best.
love fall.
Oh, it's the best. I love it.
It's just dead leaves, guys. Calm down.
He's probably a spring liker, aren't you?
I'm a summer guy.
Too hot. And everything's green. It's boring.
It's really boring. I've been saying this for years.
Well, thank you to Fall on behalf of the podcast. And I would like to thank Japan for giving us some of the best, most interesting car subcultures.
They go ham. When they get into a subculture there,
They give it their everything, don't they?
It's that whole
And it's not just
otaku
Dajiban.
thing.
it is.
Whereas like people get really into a thing in Japan. There's a Wikipedia article. Won't go into it here, but it's the whole otaku thing. They get way into cultures, whatever it is.
And we thank you for that, Japan. And we also thank all of our incredible listeners for tuning in. Even if we suck, you guys are awesome. Follow us on socials. Support us if you'd like. We cannot wait to talk to you again. Take care. Good night.
Bye-bye.